As ever, you are more than welcome to Coffee at 11, Coffee with Colin live, coming to you from Killaloo and around the world. Everybody got their mugs. Sláinte everybody, good to see you. And today's guest is a very dear friend of mine, long-time friend of mine, a big influence on my journey over the years. And it's Dave Sheahan. Let me just tell you a little bit about Dave before we allow the man in himself. His business name is DS Gym, Dave Sheahan Gym, and it's the business that he set up in Lanzarote recently. He's looking at expanding that to the DS Group, which is part of what he used to have back in the day here in Limerick, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that. What does your business do? Offers personalized coaching programs and products in the area of high performance, which will serve the varying needs of different clients depending on what area of their lives needs work. I've been in this industry for 24 years now. Dave, you must have been 7 when you started it. How many employees? You had the gym biz, you had 55 team members, mix of employees and contractors. Wow. Currently between your online gym and DS Gym, you have 8 contractors, no employees per se. And Dave Sheahan is a high performance coach working with individuals, entrepreneurs, athletes and businesses in realizing their full potential. With 20 plus years experience in this industry, Dave puts particular focus on the mind, body, health area, as it's the catalyst for success and fulfillment in all other areas of life. Dave believes in being a role model and being authentic in everything he shares, and aims to educate, motivate and inspire daily. And I can testify to that. Dave Sheahan, you're very welcome to Coffee at 11. Please start with, who is Dave Sheahan? Who's the man behind the legend?
Morning, Colin, and morning, everyone. And thanks so much, Colin, for having me on this show. Again, it's an honour to be on here. Who is Dave Sheahan? Well, Dave Sheahan was born and bred in Limerick. 42 years of age right now, and it's been quite a roller coaster of a journey through life, as it tends to be for most people. I've lived most of my life here, but 7 years ago I moved to Liverpool for 2 years, and I lived in Lanzarote then for 5, moving back to Limerick last December. Growing up as a kid and a teenager, outwardly I always seemed like it was happy-go-lucky, everything was great. Inwardly, it was the complete opposite. Absolutely, I had a lot of self-loathing, self-hate, poor self-image. Spent most of my teenage years, wanting it all to end, while externally still helping people and still try to, make them laugh, try to be there as much as I could for them. As a 17, then I got into fitness and health with a lot of encouragement from a friend of mine, and basically that was what changed my life forever, and that's what gave me the passion to decide my mission in life was to help as many people as I could until my dying days. And that's what I've been dedicated to since I was about 17, 18, when my life completely changed when I got control of my mind, body and health.
Wow, that's some part of the history, Dave, and there's a lot of depth in that. I'm sure the listeners would like to go deeper. Perhaps not today, perhaps they'll read it in your book.
Sure, exactly.
They certainly need to be following you. So what I'll do, Eamon's showing a copy there, Metabolic Stimulation System.
Good man, Eamon.
MSS, love it. So look, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that, Dave. And I know you did difficult enough, you shared that before, you had difficult enough teen years, and then you went to college. And from memory, you went to college to be an accountant. Is that right?
Yeah, I was doing a business studies and French degree in University of Limerick with accountancy major. And that was a path I was on. It was a path I was recommended to be on, family, friends, what you call them, career guidance counselors and so on. But, certain events, there was one event that changed a lot for me. Is at the age of 19, I think it was, I was attacked in town one night by 8 guys and beaten into hospital. And, lucky to be alive. I always say if I wasn't as fit and healthy as I was at the time, I wouldn't have survived it. It's my own personal opinion. But that made me really reflect on where I was, what I was doing. It was first year in college, actually. And I decided, look, all that mattered for me work-wise was I do something I'm passionate about, I enjoy. I'd seen my uncles who were entrepreneurs, work night and day, 7 days a week, missing out on things like kids, family, experiences, getting the 60s and 70s and never really having lived. Whereas I always focus, right, make sure I enjoy the work I do, make sure I'm passionate about it, and make sure, again, I live, and make sure I have time for what I've always wanted, which is like, again, things like kids, stuff like that, whilst living a mission. So that was a big turning point for me. And it was a difference between following a safe kind of life and safe career and typical recommended career versus following your passion and what you feel is your mission in your heart.
And just briefly tell us about that moment that somebody suggested you go into a gym for the first time while you were in college.
Yeah, when the guy recommended, a good friend of mine, I told him he was crazy and I had no interest. Just a room full of knucklehead bodybuilders. I had no interest in being there as a puny little light, skinny fella. So I was scared of the intimidation aspect. When I went in, it wasn't quite as bad as I saw, but the positive impact it had on me was lasting forever. But yeah, he
Wow.
was testing. He wouldn't leave me alone until I went in. And honestly, I only went in the first time to shut him up. That's the only reason I went there.
Wow. And here we are a quarter of a century later, Dave, and you've helped thousands of people as a result
Yeah.
of the interaction. Do you still know the guys? Are you still part of your life?
Yeah, still one of my closest friends. One of the guys I went to college with. I have a couple of really close college friends and very close friends I grew up with, and he's still very close.
That's wonderful. That's a great story. That's your man on the train moment for sure.
Exactly.
World one interaction, yeah. Happy days. Dave, pleasure knowing you, pleasure working alongside you and learning from you all these years. By the way, folks, for what it's worth, Dave forced me to do my first ever video online. Sitting in the Savoy Hotel. I was chatting to him, chat, and he sort of said, you need to make a video. So I said, right, hang up, I'm gonna, and I did. So here we are. So Dave, another moment. Okay, your business to date, potted history, 5 minutes on the business up to COVID-19.
Yeah, I try to keep this as brief as I can because it's hell of a roller coaster when that happened. You know, I started off working in the fitness industry at about 18, 19 after I had my own positive impact from it, helping people in the gym in the university. Then after university finished, 3 days later, I started working in the Green Hills Hotel. A year later, I set up my own business, just some gym equipment in a house I rented in the living room and the dining room. So it's downstairs gym, upstairs was my house. From there then went on to, it grew really fast. Within a couple of years I had a few facilities, and in the end, like at its height, I had 5 different facilities, including ladies gyms, kids activities, boot camps, normal conventional gyms, personal training, all kinds of stuff, and 55 staff and contractors. And it was quite an animal, it was quite a buzz. It was, you know, great for the ego, obviously great financially, professionally, all that side of it. You know, I wouldn't have had a lot of time in the personal side of things. So I wouldn't have balanced that way, which is, looking back, that was a big reason why what happened. At the height of it, 27, 28, that's when the whole economy basically collapsed. Housing market collapsed. At the time I was in the process of buying a bigger, nicer, more expensive house. And at the time the economy collapsed, the housing prices dropped dramatically. So I was stuck in the middle of selling and buying and bridging loans. That was a disaster. Plus also at the same time, I had got into a deal with a particular business guy who screwed me over big time. And, you know, one thing I wanted to throw in there though is, when he said screw over, I still played a role in letting them into my life and making a decision to do that. So we have to take responsibility for when things happen. Everyone has their own agendas in life and whatever they're doing, whether it be good or bad. So that's an important point to take from that. And basically everything collapsed. Went from turning over 7 figures a year, living a great life, doing whatever the hell I wanted, to basically having nothing, 7 figures in the red, and just an absolute disaster in every area of life. So I spent then the next 10 years rebuilding my life, rebuilding my business, went online, recommendation of another friend who also was a bit incessant about come to network marketing event, come. Eventually I did. Within 2 minutes I got it, and I spent most of the last 10 years working online, like you said, helping thousands of people, which has given me immense pleasure. When I went to Lanzarote, I was approached after a year to set up a gym and a facility there, a big complex, and it kind of stoked my ego to let's start again from the ground. No one knows you, and let's get some unfinished business done here from what had happened to me. And 2.5 years later, before all this COVID-19 situation, we were doing pretty well. Good team in place, lots of great feedback, and all self-generated in terms of investment. So I hadn't much capital to start with, and it grew and grew. We have a good reputation over there. So that's it's been a hell of a roller coaster.
And that brings us up to sort of last September, October, November, December, if I'm not mistaken, Dave. And then things began to change, and you decided to make a move back and then run the gym remotely. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, that's correct. So I decided to move back to Ireland, and I put a manager in place and some team to do my classes and my different activities, because we've got a food business there. We do boot camps on the beach. We've got in-gym activities as well. So put a team in place, obviously dramatically increased my expenses with me out of the picture. And then I virtually managed the gym then while I was over and back. And then since I moved back fully in December last year. And I was going swimmingly for the last couple of months up to a few weeks ago.
And I'm delighted you brought us to that point exactly there. So we'll talk about COVID in just a second, but your journey, a couple of things I made a note of there. First of all, your low cost start. I think that's really important. You decided that you're going to start, you got a bit of equipment, threw it upstairs in the room or downstairs in the room, and you were living in the same place. And that's a really good early strategy for businesses. Too many people, I think, stretch too far too soon.
Yeah.
Built the animal, as you called it. I loved the fact that you took responsibility for allowing some guy and some shyster in to your life, that you're accepting your part in that. I've some of that experience too, and I have to accept my part in that. Your bravery to move to Lanzarote and start again from scratch and then build something, I admire that immensely. And all of that, as you say, was going swimmingly well there for lots of different reasons, changes. You decided to come back to Limerick, run it remotely. And as part of a business strategy, that's wonderful. So you have a business going on over in Spain, you're starting again over here, you're connecting the two, and then COVID-19 comes along.
Exactly.
And so here you go, Dave. Here's another challenge. So what's business like today, Dave?
Yeah, so that's the next bump. And like I said, it is a roller coaster. There's exhilarating parts in life, and then there's ones that really challenge you right to your core. And in our first few months of me virtually managing DS Gym Lanzarote, going great, the gym itself, the boot camps, the food business, everything. Then what was that, last Saturday? And also just to throw in there, since I got back, I started setting up the same type of services here, getting PT going, getting some of my MSS classes, connect with other instructors to teach classes. So I have a DS brand here as well, because that was part of my vision to grow them around the place. So everything's going great, everything's moving in the right direction, business going good here and growing, Lanzarote going as much as I hoped it would. Suddenly this hits, then last Saturday, 6:30 p.m., I get a phone call from a client and also a fellow business owner in Lanzarote to tell me there's full lockdown starting at 11:30 that night. So that was completely and totally devastating because, again, as I said, I'd started again to do unfinished business. We had had a huge success and reputation. I'd put my heart and soul into 24/7. I didn't take the easy option of closing up when I moved back to Ireland. I wanted to keep it going for myself, for the brand, for the staff, for the members, and also I had a long way to go with it. So I was pretty devastated when I got that call. It really took me down for a couple of hours. I was intensely angry, which I posted up online so people would have seen my anger coming out, because I'm always as authentic as I can be online too, because at the end of the day, we're all human. We have good times, bad times. No point just showing the good times, as many do, unfortunately. So that took me down completely. It was like, right, all that work's gone. It's closed. Like every business owner in Lanzarote, while you could be positive, the reality is, will you open again? The chances are slim. We obviously have to have a little hope. So then a few hours later, as we discussed last night, I had a good chat with myself. I thought, look, reality is this, it's potentially going to close, and I'm the same boat as everyone else. And what can I do? And I thought, what can I gain strength in this difficult situation? Plus also the following day, my venue I use in Limerick closed as well. So that was my income offline from Limerick on too. So that's all that gone down to zero. So I thought, what can I do? And as I shared with you last night, I said, look, all I can do in this situation, we have such uncertainty, we don't know what the hell's going to happen, how long this is going to last. What I love doing is helping and supporting people. So let's dedicate myself to supporting people throughout this whole thing and see where things are at the end of all this and do a bit of adaptation, be resourceful, reinvent a bit if I need, take the time to do things that I haven't had time to do. And basically I spent hours that night from about 11 p.m. until about 3 a.m. contacting business owners, clients, members of my team in Lanzarote to kind of give them a bit of a pep talk, support them, share, listen to what they had to say, share how I felt, and just go, look, we're going to support each other in this and get through this. And I've kind of continued that since. And what I've done too, I decided to put DS Gym online, but it's a free resource to anyone in the world. So we now, since last Tuesday evening, have DS Gym. Pretty much all the classes we had online. All my instructors were on board with it because they're all very like-minded, which I'm very thankful for. I'm very grateful to them. So people can access classes 9 to 12 o'clock, Monday to Saturday, because I'm doing a live training, which is, again, is a support training, Monday to Saturday at 1 o'clock as well. So again, I decided to dedicate myself to that, to help people, put those resources up. And in general, all day, I'm just spending my day basically on WhatsApp, on phone calls, on Facebook Messenger, on emails, just supporting people, following up obviously my own clients, my team over, but also people I've known for years, clients I had many, many years ago. Do my best to make sure everyone's okay, and what can I do to help them? and it is giving me strength to deal with my own troubles.
Dave, that's incredible. You used a few words there. You said you put your heart and soul into it, and I know you for many years, and that's what you do. You throw yourself heart and soul into everything that you do. You're a servant for sure. You've got a servant mentality, and you served thousands of people over the years, and you continue to do so. What I found really interesting was, despite your world falling apart at 6:30 last Saturday evening, and you admitted to being angry for the first 4 or 5 or 6 hours, right? And then you gave yourself a good talking to, and then you got online and you started calling the others to support them. And if I'm not mistaken, by 3 o'clock on Sunday morning, you were feeling a little bit more buoyed up, a little bit tired, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
buoyed up because you reached out. Is that fair to say?
Definitely, definitely was tired the next day, but I was definitely getting strength from it. And it's like what I feel I'm here to do. It's like when I went through my own journey at the age of 17 and transformed, not just physically, but mentally and health and everything, and got the buzz from that. I wanted to put that into other people, and I've always felt that way. Like, even as a kid, I used to always be the one who would listen to people if they had problems. I'd always be the one to try make someone laugh if they seem down. And I suppose it's what I'm here for. That's what I look at it as. I'm here to help people as much as I can. And what's key is to give unconditionally, not always give of yourself expecting or looking for something in return, which unfortunately is the way so many people think. See the bigger picture, and especially now more than ever, it's about us all supporting each other as a globe. Everyone, no matter where we are, and the beauty is technology allows us to do it. Like in this call, someone could be from Tokyo, they could be from Vancouver, they could be from Rio de Janeiro, or they could be from Limerick. They can all be on this call, and we need to use these resources, which I'm delighted to see is happening, and we need to all be very supportive of each other, because there's massive satisfaction and fulfillment in it. We need to take away the monetary needs that we feel. At the end of the day, you get so much from helping people, and I'm a firm believer, and I've seen it in my life, if you give unconditionally, it comes back to you anyway. You don't know when or in what form, but it will come back to you.
Yeah, 100%, Dave. Delighted to hear you talk like that. Not that I'm surprised at all, because I know you and that's the way you are. But I do think now is the time for all of us to step up and do whatever it is we can do. This series has been born because of COVID-19. And it's just, I know I can do it, so therefore I'm going to do it. And invite great people on, cool people on with, who've got a servant attitude, and let them share their stories, because everybody is hurting at this moment in time, and everybody's nervous and scared, wondering where it's all going to end, and we've no idea. But the whole world is involved. So whatever we can do, folks, as individuals, let's just do it. Let's just put ourselves out there to help where we can. And Dave's 100% right. Let's not do it so that we get a reward, but let's also be aware a reward will come. You'll put some effort in over here, help somebody, and you'll be rewarded by the universe over here. It's just the way the karma works. Dave, so you brought us through your early years, you brought us through the business before COVID, you're in full lockdown, but reinventing at a rate of knots as only you can, which is wonderful. And why are you hopeful for the future, and how do you see the future? What will it look like when we get there?
I'm hopeful for the future because, and I think this is a message people need to get into their heads too, that there's always ups and downs. Like the way I refer to life as a roller coaster. There's always bumps, there's always challenges, there's always obstacles. Some are small, easy to get over. Some are catastrophic, as like at the moment. It's probably the worst one we will hopefully experience in our lifetime. But at the same time, we have to be hopeful because, if you're a business owner or self-employed in some way, you have that drive, determination, you have that digging deep mentality. That's what got you to be an entrepreneur, because it's a special type of characteristic to be an entrepreneur. It's not for everybody. So you got to this point before COVID-19 because of your characteristics. So you need to draw on that energy, draw on that drive, desire, determination, ability to get over obstacles to continue on. But you do need to adapt. You need to be resourceful. You need to reinvent. And if you do, you will be fine. But you need to do it now. You need to not feel sorry for yourself. You need to not mope around. You need to take action. You need to kind of look and see, like you, like what I'm doing, like many other people, like Eamon is on the call, doing fantastic stuff now as well, giving of ourselves online, using online tools to help other people and support. And at the end of the day, give unconditionally, but the reality is you are building your profile, you are building your brand, and it's going to come back in some way. And like for me with my DS Gym, it was to support people, support their members, then we opened up to the whole world, because initially it was to be just members. So look, for helping them for free, why not help everybody? But that's a platform that, say if the gym doesn't open again, then I have that foundation and I can make, let's just keep it online, get even more instructors, more classes, and have classes going for people all over the world with some type of subscription membership, and people can join again from everywhere. So it's like, we're building a business while we're also building a support network right now. And there's many things that, as an entrepreneur, you have many ideas. There's nearly too many opportunities. Try one of the ones that you haven't been doing that you feel good about, and let's see where it goes. Maybe you're creative and you like to make stuff and you want to use Etsy or sell on eBay or whatever, but you've never had time to because you've been doing the business you have been doing. Like, there's endless opportunities, but it's down to mindset. As I said, you have to kind of get your head out of the sand, get your head out of your ass basically, and just start taking action and decide, what can I do to make this positive? Like, turn this, what we is a negative situation for every person it can be. But do get the right mindset, it will be.
I absolutely love it, Dave. Come here, you said something to me last night, which is as true of you as it is of me. You said this could be the best thing that ever happened to us, right?
Yeah.
Carangola was shut down last Thursday, Thursday the 12th, whatever day it was. And while it's very challenging, it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it. But you're absolutely right. Let's not sit around and mope. So anybody who's on the call, anybody who's watching this video in time or listening to the podcast, please, whatever it is you felt you always would love time to do, now is the time. It's not going to get any better than now, because there's nobody drawn on your time at this moment in time. So put it to good use and see where it leads. Step out, feel the fear and do it anyway. See where it leads.
Yeah. Like we've never had so much time. Everybody. Like I even said to my mother this morning, like, it's such a strange feeling and also a tough challenge that there is nothing any of us actually have to do right now, because our normal routines are gone. We could in essence stay in bed all day if we wanted to, but that's not going to get us anywhere. So it's important to keep your routines. Like 2 days last week, I didn't do my normal routine. I stayed in bed a bit longer, didn't have an alarm, and it threw my day out. So I went back to my routines and then motoring again. So we need to live as normally as we can. We need to create new routines or continue the ones we're doing. And like that, take action and stuff that you haven't done, that you should have done, or that you didn't have time to do at the time. Prioritize the time you have. And I think just in terms of the impact of this becoming a positive, as a world, hopefully people will become more, leading with their heart, more supportive, less selfish, more empathetic. Now, hopefully, because right now we're seeing the horrendous aspects of humanity, we're also seeing the great nature of humanity. It's like a war right now between the people who are giving everything and the people who are taking everything. And hopefully the givers are going to win, and it'll stay that way, and it won't be just a short-lived kind of feeling because of the panic of this crisis.
Yeah. Dave, lovely words. I've been calling this World War C for the last couple of weeks, because I genuinely believe that's what it is. We're in World War COVID, and we don't know who beside us in the supermarket or who beside us on a walk is carrying. So we just got to be extra careful. But I do think we're seeing the worst of people and the best of people, and I hope when we come out of this, I was talking to a few people over the last few days, people that, for the last 12 months or 24 months, we've been saying we must get together for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yet. So please God, when this is all over, let's meet people for coffee a little more often.
Exactly.
Dave Sheahan, before we go to the floor for Q&A, and I'm sure there's a couple of people there who would like to ask a question or two. I'll unmute anybody who wants to put up their hand. Before we go there, Dave, have you one tip? What would you recommend to any of us as one thing we could do on track during this period?
Yeah, I've been thinking of this, and there's just so many. I've been trying to decide which is the best one, and I've kind of touched on a few that'll be tips as we've spoken, but I think probably now and always the most important one is limiting your exposure and eliminating exposure if you can to negativity. And that's not just, things and media and stuff like that. Like with the media, I'm always hammering about people getting off the media. Now, right now, we need to have a certain level of exposure because we have to keep some bit up to date. But watching it day and night and watching on Facebook and watching on websites is going to do your head in. So limit your exposure right now. In general, even try to eliminate it in normal times. But importantly, the same as with people. The people who are draining of your energy, the energy vampires, people who add nothing to your life and only take from it. People who before you even meet them, your energy's dropped. You say if you're going to meet someone and you're going to meet them and you just already your energy's gone, your emotional state is gone. They don't serve your life in any way whatsoever. Even when you think about them, it drops. So use this time to kind of do like an audit on your circle and limit where you can. Like say with family will more often than not be a limiting situation. And we all have people in our family like that. Where you can though eliminate. And definitely with things you can control. Family, like I said, is a difficult one. But associates, people you should be in contact with business, friends, stuff like that are not really adding to you. And then what you do online or news, media, all that stuff, you can definitely eliminate a lot of that. Because if you don't feed your mind the right material, you're not going to get anywhere. Like people who follow me will see I'm always pushing positivity in terms of positive mind feed. If I'm walking the dogs, I'm doing anything, I have earphones on, listening to things. I have very little exposure to negativity. And it's a daily battle. It's a lifelong battle. You don't just become a positive person. It's a practice. It's a routine.
Dave, unfortunately, the sound has let us down. I'm not sure if Dave, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but the sound has let us down in the last few minutes. Your device seems to have frozen. So I think we might just call it there, if that's okay, folks. Those of you on camera, am I right in saying the sound has been difficult? Sound a bit difficult? A bit difficult, okay. So listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll get the recording out in the next 24 hours. There's Dave, you're back to us. Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. If you can see us all, we're going to give you the deaf community clap just to wish you well and thank you for being the person you are and the leader that you are. And folks, I would love to invite you back tomorrow for coffee at 11. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I've got a dear friend of mine, Noelle Crehan, on. And Noelle is an interactive health practitioner. And tomorrow she'll be speaking on how to mind ourselves inside and out through nutrition and lifestyle support. So building, if you like, on what Dave has been talking about. So please come back tomorrow, meet Noelle Crehan for coffee at 11. Dave Sheahan, as ever, pleasure. Namaste. Have a great day, folks. Bye.